ke sebeditse le Maredi.
I've worked with Ntate Maredi.
Ke sebeditse le Ntate Maredi ke sa le monyane.
I worked with Ntate Selaelo Maredi.
One of the most amazing theatre makers who I still think to this day has not been celebrated fairly.
He's not after money.
He writes beautiful scripts and he writes beautifully.
And Braden has always been this person that says there are no faults in whatever you do. Be a natural. Don't act like yesterday, act better than yesterday.
His style is very classic. His style is very demanding.
Ntate Maredi is very strict.
But also somebody who brings township stories into the forefront of theatre.
How did you learn? Now
He was so clever, fast in thinking.
His plays were not the ones that build stars or celebrities. They build artists.
Masarule, what are you doing? You can't take off your clothes in front of me, man. Masarule! What's up? Masarule? Hey. What are you doing? You can't bend these clothes in here. Are you crazy? No, man, Masarule. Wednesday.
This person won an award at the Arts Achievement from New York City, distinguished community service and outstanding contributions in the field of performing arts, recognition by the San Francisco Chronicle for Best Musical Score, Best Production Award of Survival in Havana, Cuba. This person is a member of the Frank Silvera Writers Workshop, New York City, member of Black Writers Group in Portland, Oregon, director, Black Arts Production at San Francisco State University, taught an acting class at Francisco School of Dramatic Arts. This person co-authored the following: Singing in Sun City with Ed Bullin, Homeland with Steve Friedman, Sing Anyway with Carol Thomas, Melody with Hugh Masekela. Please welcome Ntate Selaelo Maredi.
I didn't want to become a prostitute and make money by selling my body. I just hate the idea of men, young, old, fat, ugly, some with bad breath, all pumping and puffing on top of me.
When two elephants fight, the grass suffers the most. It gets twisted, broken, and dried up, and be swept away by the winds and the flowing waters from the rain. You are that grass. You are bent, twisted, and thwarted by the feet of the fighting elephants.
Will you ever go back to South Africa? And if so, when?
I wouldn't say when. You cannot gauge the time for a revolution. It can be end of this year, it can be in 2 years to come or 3 years to come. When a country is in a revolution state, you don't anticipate when. It just comes up one morning.
My name is Selaelo Maredi. Now, as an African child, Africans, when a child is born, they sit and talk about who the child must be named after. It's not just a name that they pick up from anywhere. So, Selaelo Maredi, it's a name of the Maredi clan. So I was named after my grandfather's firstborn child, who grew up very brilliant and brave man, who ended up in the Second World War. He was one of the people who became victims of the Mendi ship that killed black South African soldiers returning from the war. He started to go Sophia Town. And when Sophia Town was declared a white area, but we moved to Soweto. Narile rata mo Alexandra. Abariya ko Petersburg, where my parents originated from. So kimo kile ka kena skolo mo ka tsena le mona Alexandra, and then from there ka yo tsena skolo ko Pretoria ko Mamelodi Technical College. Growing up, it's a different era at that time, whereby children were growing up together and the families were still very intact. We were not just growing up like children of today who are growing up as if they're little animals. We were growing up under strict rules, family rules, and being taught what's the difference between you, a child, and the elders. And we enjoyed that a lot. Cool.
Morning, Slakes.
Morning.
How are you, Slakes?
Shabba, how are you doing?
Good. How are you feeling today, Slakes?
I'm cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did we catch you by surprise?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, a little surprise.
A little surprise?
Yeah. Because it's way after 9.
Right, are we doing this, Slakes?
Huh?
Are we doing this?
What?
Are we doing the interview?
We're ready.
We're ready to go.
Yo,
so where are we going? Going to the park?
Either way. Where are we going?
Park first.
Right, okay.
Okay. And what were you doing here, Slakes?
Huh?
Like here on the table. I see there's some script writing.
Yeah. No.
No, I'm not taking your words, Slakes.
This is a draft. It's just starting to be pregnant.
Starting to be pregnant?
Yeah.
What does that mean, Slakes?
Anything starts with pregnancy, whether you're writing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have to be pregnant first.
You have the whole mind must be pregnant, and then the baby grows.
Okay.
And then after that, it gives birth. Then birth is the script.
Okay. And then now you can put some flesh into
the
it.
final draft. Then you are going to put bodies on the script and give it life. My experience living in Alexandra, it's huge because I grew up in this place, which Alexandra to me has been one of the most fascinating places I've lived. As one as spike horse. They just spike horse.
Spike horse.
As not clever next. But clever but we just spike horse. Alexandra nurtured a whole lot of people in all spheres of life. In the theater, music, dance, boxing, soccer, even in the political arena. So it's a place that really was motivating young people to be like those, above them. I had a lot of people who grew up who were older than me, especially in theater. People like Sam Williams, who were the first great actors, singers and actors in the city of Alexandra. In fact, he used to live on 6th Avenue and I was living on 5th Avenue. People like Hugh Masekela, Caiphus Semenya, Sunshine, Sophie Mtrina, they grew up here. Ndemi Piliso, almost everybody. It came up with great people who became internationally known as world superstars. The most famous name of Alexandra was called Dark City. That is the name of Alexandra that I know, that I grew up myself also calling it Dark City. Egblay and Alexandra Dark City. Like any other place in the world, there were, those elements of also the gangsters, political activities, which were everything that was in Alexandra was not on a small scale. Everything was on a big scale. Hence, it was known. You just say Alexandra anywhere in the world, they know about Alexandra. Let me say, the living condition in Alexandra today, when you just walk around, it's not pleasurable. It's not good. That's not how people should live. Alexandra was always a township, but it was not as it is now, how bad it is now. So even the population we have in Alexandra, I think is way above Alexandra itself. So you can imagine a small place like this, everybody coming into this small place and trying to survive. What happens? It's like ants.
What do you want?
Like you just survive, you make available escape routes to ease our pain.
You make your comfort thrive no matter what misery your own people go through. Kenaloko, Malomola, Hosoyeha, Momoye, Kaholoswa, Kemuso, Leona Batu Bakiso. Advantage of political situation.
Oh, okay. This don't look. Just keep it there. Yeah. In exile, I lived for 14 years, living in the United States, after I left South Africa in 1977.
Why are you in exile at this point?
Well, why am I in exile is, I'm like many other South Africans who are in exile. Me and my 3 other friends, we left South Africa in 1977, coming to the United States to do a play. And when we got here, we had so many problems where some politicians and some church leaders were talking about most of the countries that are violating human rights are friends of the United States. Now, that is, then where is the line drawn?
Damn it. Mrs. Zondo, you owe 2 months' rent.
Yes, I know, Sergeant, but I told the superintendent last week that as soon as I get back to work...
We have to lock the house, Mrs. Zondo. It's the law.
What about my children? Where should we go? Please, let me...
I came back 1991. Now, working in theater, we decided to do plays which were exposing the harshness and the inhumane of apartheid. So we started writing plays, which we started them at the Institute of Race Relations in Braamfontein. Plays which were considered anti-government plays. And the one that really hit the peak or the epitome of that protest was a play called Survival. And Survival was finally picked up by a professor from California, Orange Coast College. And that's how we ended up being invited to leave South Africa. And the worst part of it, I got a letter one day coming from Protea police station that I must come there, and if I don't come, they will come and collect me. I was living in Diepkloof at my uncle's place. So when I got there, he said, "We hear you are going to America." I said, "No, I'm not going to America. I'm invited to go to America. In fact, here is the letter." So he took the letter and looked at it and said, "Okay, but we are watching you." So I left. Just a few days before we left, they got a call from the States that a South African play that is against apartheid coming to the United States. And the theater where we were supposed to open at Las Palmas Theater in Los Angeles was firebombed. When we finally left, we were at the airport, inside the plane. When it was taking off, the security police came to intercept us at the airport, and the plane was already leaving. So it was a narrow escape.
Brad Dan was encouraging us as young people to get involved in, social activities, and his major area of interest was theater or drama, would we call it, or actor, even though we are not professional actors. But Brad Dan, being a streetwise person, came up with all kind of concepts of, making shows.
My child. Is
Doctor, isn't it true that Oramba, amongst other senior citizens...
Wait. Doctor, now you're coming to your file. Your file will be here, of all the record. Doctor, isn't it true that all the senior citizens, among others, cannot pay you? So you'll have a...
Dr. Selaelo was one of those people that embraced a lot into directing, into writing, into acting, into all the mechanics of making an actor become a talented entity and a contributor of the development of his own people.
My interaction with SS Selaelo Maredi, I remember it was 2001. I had just graduated from Fuba School of Dramatic Arts, and SS Selaelo Maredi had a show. And I was assistant stage manager, so I had a chance to be with him behind the stage.
I've worked with Ntate Maredi, and when I say Ntate Maredi, I mean in the literal sense as Ntate, because he's a father figure to me. He mentored me while I was still at Vets as a drama student, of course, and up to this moment I'm still using some of the skills and the knowledge that he has imparted on me I'm also transferring that knowledge to my own students.
Mangakhuluma kakhulu ngoba Maredi ngoba thina sasebancane kuleso sikhathi wayesinceda kakhulu ukusifundisa itheater. Uthola ukuthi manje abantwana lento yokuganga yonke lento engekho. Kulesa sikhathi sethu lento yokuphuza utshwala yayingekho. Thina sasiyinto emnandi kwakuloku act. So sambile kakhulu noba Maredi ku prosecution sihamba sidlala emahholweni basithanda abantu ukugqwala ngaleso sikhathi leso.
Myself and Deborah Lishika, we opened an organization called Gallant Attracts. We were stationed at the Windy Pro Theatre, and he was there as well. In fact, the late Spiwe Kumalo, they became our mentors. And we spent a lot of time with them, really conversing, and I suppose just getting a sense of not giving up as a theatre maker, and trusting your own voice as a theatre maker, and keep telling township stories.
Jaiva,
The first encounter working with Ntate Selaelo Maredi was when he was an artistic director at Windybrew Theatre. He was an associate director helping the people who are directing the plays there. The name of the play was The Choices, which was directed by Lucius.
Joe, I don't remember the name of play Eki Brekilendona Ntate Maredi, but I remember Eki Brekilendona even the Rato ya Luko 15 ko khakhae crear file script and then kausa no was change was ngwala halikwishishi lona ke lebeletse gore you must do this and you're not doing this, and it was my first time ke kena more the industry anyway with Ntate Maredi, and una santsana le bogalenyana a rata gore o pedisa, and sometimes I just couldn't make sense in what he was doing at that time. Ha motho wa re opedisa, and then the next thing wa re ngwadisa mo fatshe, and then the next thing wa re director, and then the next thing wa re go ba go hahae o kwatile, like what is happening here?
We worked together. Essentially, we did workshops at Dogcare House, which was at Elof Street Extension, which I could say was an unqualified, informal academy. That was also where we were learning from each other, taught by those people who knew what they were doing, and they came and taught us the mechanics. We took this very special when anybody came about to make a contribution.
Right, go. But you still sing the song. Go.
Yeah. But you still sing the song like you are But you still sing the song like you're performing in some goddamn casino concert.
Did that physical protest bring us back our Africa with all its beauty and its riches? Oh, we were only venting out our frustrations?
Why don't you tell us, since you seem to know?
Right.
Why?
Right. Maybe you can't confront me, son. You've got to.
We would hear about the name Sabontate Maredi, Kofuba, you think in Sipos Pamla, Selaelo Maredi, Bojon Kani, Zexunda, all the South African black theatre makers, we would hear about them in passing, but really working with one. One of the first ones was Ntate Maredi. And I think I spent 2 months there, and we chatted a lot. We talked a lot. I had a chance to, be part of the crew that was building his set, painting his set, doing his lights, and really doing the production behind the scene.
SS Mendi Maredi, he worked with us with another gentleman called Mshengu. I do not remember his English name now. He was a white guy who started off his wing of actors, and we were a wing which was called the Phoenix Players at Dogcare House. And this kicked off as way back as 1957. Many years ago. And you had to be an actor, especially in Ntate Maredi, who was very fastidious, very difficult, very wanting, very demanding from an actor and an individual to say, this is the right way and there's no other way but the right way.
Bengumthanda mina uBamaredi ngoba esikhathini esiningi zonke lento besiyenza sasinganawo ama-sponsor thina. Besimane sibhuka nje emaholweni sizibhalela amalona sihambe nje sidlala. So singanawo ama-sponsor singanandaba. Kodwa kwamanje yonke into ifuneka ama-sponsor, kufuneka imali, kufuneka into eziningi. Kodwa lesa sikhathi sethu and singabantwana thina kwakumnandi lento besasiyenza kudala.
We were mostly acting in low, township halls, what they call community halls then, between 66 and 70. We went other places to act like Petersburg, Tafloop, Mpumalanga, in Nelspruit.
Hopola nako ele ne re le ko holong ya ko tleliniking. Ya beno re ke dula stulong Titus Rameti a ba hula stulo. Ha ke re ka be ke wa shebisa maoto di ho Oom Dan Maredi a ileng a kwata haholo a batla ho tshwara Titus. Ya ba
ya ke gopola le ke gopola nako ne re ile Nelspruit o kra hore holo inyane for batho ba kra re tsentse ro etela bareng go gopola di bara tsa khale ne le na le holo fela ka montle etela ka montle mo ba kra hore group e tsentse back ya thoma ya open so rona tlo bua re et bare batho bana ba tlhapetse ba tlhapetse re sa ni jwa because ne re sa le banyane ne re sa ni jwa mara ka mkholo ba teng le ba re nwile jwala and all those things. It was very, very, very nice.
I am who I am.
I am who I am.
I am who I am.
And I am who I am. A woman who gave birth to many African kings and queens, born in the royal kingdoms of Africa, Nubia, Egypt, Ghana, Mali, Mapungubwe,
Swaziland, Zimbabwe,
Timbuktu, Lesotho, to mention a few. Africa, which sits between the Indian and the Atlantic Oceans. Teach me your praise, Africa, so I can sing it when I am alone, cooling my feet in the waters of the river Nile.
His plays are very modern. His plays are very relevant. His plays are very truthful. His plays are very honest. His plays are asking for change, not to bring about a sense of satisfaction and complacency, like you see things happen at this moment in time.
I like his plays because they take a different angle, and most of his plays tackle women issues, which is something that is very rare. He's an activist for women, if I may put it that way.
What I have realized, Oom Dan Maredi, is that he writes beautiful scripts and he writes beautifully. The challenge becomes that gantsi o thole ga tlo casta, and that could be because of lack of resources and finances, which is budget for production. Aba a casta your community type of actors, and they struggle with text dia gage.
Finally!
No! The devil just got a kick out of his behind.
No. Just got a kick in his behind. In his front. In his behind. We won.
Stungs akhona suk pants. Ayapalela time aleli. Iscript sakhe mawasihlala wathi uyasifunda. Awona mama uzostay, uzosifunda from the beginning until the end. Ufuna ukwazi ukuthi kwenzakalani nda.
My father, he was hanged for a crime that no one had proof of. Because my father didn't have a lawyer to defend him in the courts of law, the justice system was always right. The poor people had to survive, and often survival for them meant committing an unlawful act, like taking things that did not belong to them.
Stealing, robbing people and banks.
Whatever that they could lay their hands on to survive.
Breaking into people's homes and taking their valuables.
Fiber, not fiber.
Fiber.
That's right.
When he directs that Maredi, he's always punctual. You must make sure that you know the lines of the play, and then you must make sure that whatever that he has directed you, and then you say the words the way they are.
How did he kill him?
With a knife in his deep sleep, very drunk.
Cut! Stop! Simple! For God's sake, just stop! Masarolo, I am so sorry. Simbe will come and get you out in bed. I will recommend it.
You were only doing your job.
Right. No, that's not important.
His style has got important issues that even when you present, you got to articulate. Your diction's got to be good. The sound's got to be heard by each and everyone. No such thing as sliding all over, take this, do the second take, and the 10th take, and so forth. You could do that, but every moment he wanted you to improve on what you are presenting. That is Mr. Maredi himself. That is the man who I say was very strict and very fastidious.
That Maredi, I'm surprised. I'm Grahamstown. As perform day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Lapho what change the script was change the script at the ANC. Lines out here.
But also Oom Dan Maredi can be very slow as a director, you know. How explain something like he will take hours for a feature more pointing by the time a feature more is like energy, you know. But it was exciting, and he would get furious. So o tlo batla go explainela gore why o tshwantse o move mo le o fitle mo o yang go teng. and he would get mad. You can't come into my rehearsal space, got the attitude. I didn't take attitude, especially not from young kids like you or young girls like you. I can't deal with you. Little send the script is a kalesipile mohaka.
And the children are at home with the mother.
There is no sorry. Our audience is what do want to show. There is no sorry. You guys must discipline your minds. Because the minute we accept sorry now, even during a performance, there will be sorry. Go.
Malume! Malume! Malume!
It's not locked. Come in.
No. Come in, it's not locked.
Come in. It's not locked.
Don't laugh. Don't scream. Nice. I've heard about Grahamstown while I was still in exile. I was getting a lot of information about what's going on in South Africa from or through Spiwe Khumalo. And in fact, I was saying to Spiwe, well, I'll come back when everything is okay. And he said, no, you can't come back when everything is okay. We'll make it okay. Come back and be part of the reconstruction of South African theatre in a free country. So I came back, and I came to Grahamstown. I found a very interesting occasion with floods of human beings going up and down, going from place to place. Production-wise, I came with a Kipi, which was a musical play about the late legend Kipi Mweketsi, with a very small cast, but powerful. And then I brought another production of mine, Locking Horns, which was another highlight of the festival. I treasure the whole thing, or love a lot, when I meet with people who respect theatre. Like there was a just legend, his name, I think it was Peter Rizan, who said, the stage is a holy land. The stage is a holy land. It's not like any other piece of land. You can't climb on that land, onto the stage, if you are not holy. Spiritually, mentally, and everything. Now, talking about whatever you do on that stage, it must be something that is winning the souls of the people who are watching you, the minds of the people who are watching you. Everything that you are doing there must go into the people's systems.
I couldn't wash at home in a dish. I would go to the river and swim, or go to the mountain at the waterfall and wash. I would take off my clothes and remain butt naked. And go stand on a big rock and wash and wash and wash. In full view of people passing by.
Good afternoon, everybody. And thank you so much
I am not a speaker. I speak well with a pen. So most of the things that I want to say, you will see them here. So maybe at the end of the whole program, I can come back and say a few things.
Now, could you be specific and tell us what you really want us to know?
You all know, but you're just hell scared to face the truth. Our society's moral fiber gone. Humanity, ubuntu, gone. Children, the pride of the parents and the community,
gone.
African ways of survival and self-reliance,
gone.
African medical science and religion,
gone.
Traditional schools of thoughts and African justice system,
gone.
Invention, the art and practice of planning and designing building, gone, 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 gone.
My take on South African theatre industry is that from where it comes from, it was informal. It was sort of like essentially township. We could not present our plays in a theatre, but we presented our plays in halls, which were not properly insulated, which were not proper halls, which were not proper lit, which could not take proper voice production of the actors.
The theatre space back then was only meant for Europeans, and you'd find that Africans actually had to use alternative space like the halls, church halls, the church, or just outside, or any other space that they can actually find.
When you look at theatre before, in Soweto there was no theatre. There were halls like Mufulo Hall, DOCC, Naledi Hall, Ayetu, Communal Hall in Orlando. Those places worked.
Until things changed and electronics came about. Because then, like I say, we're not even allowed to work in the theaters because of the nature of the politics of the time. And they were for a separate group which did not look like us. But when we did our work, they wished they looked like us, and they envied the very environmental background where we came from, because it was rich with stories, with culture, with respect, with integrity, with togetherness. And we became one. And we had audiences who loved us so much.
The most beautiful thing about South African theatre is that it has evolved, it's evolving, and I think it has taken like a beautiful turn. You find more diverse voices, but even just the issues that we as South African contemporary theatre makers are addressing are quite, numerous. In
the olden days, plays that made any meaning were like Buipin Dombi, the industry was very tight. It was basically controlled by the white conglomerates. If you were going to make it any big, you must sell out to the big white guys then. It wasn't easy for anybody. It wasn't easy for musicians. It wasn't easy. Obrazex Nkosi died paupers. Bashatini died. They come from Alex.
Le fase hard guys kwala mtlena ya ubina ka mogolo
le fase la Africa
no le fase la Africa
For the the younger South African theatre makers, there's so much beautiful, controversial, thought-provoking, funny things, but also very creative things that we talk about, and then we bring those things into theatre. So it's more edgy, it's more exciting. I think it's also, as much as it's very South African, it's very global, because you're not thinking I'm writing a show that's going to be at the Market Theatre only. You're thinking from Market Theatre, where can it go? But even the collaborations that we have, as much as your Arthur Fugard and John Kani, back in the day, they used to perform Royal Court in London or theatres in the States. We still do the same thing, but we're doing it at a different scale. We're doing it in a sense of we also producers. We also actively involved in the marketing of our own products. We spend more time not just writing, but also doing business plans and really getting money for ourselves and forcing different theatre houses to recognize our work.
Mohadi, where are you, bitch? Mohadi is my mother's name. She would jump like a frightened rabbit and run to the bed. No! Please don't kill me. Yo! Please. Please. Don't kill me. Not in front of my child.
In terms of the people I've developed in theatre, are too many, not only in Alexandra, all over South Africa, I might say. And it comes from what I was giving to them is what I got from other people. A place like Workshop 71, where we started going into the group of real development to the professional standard. I mean, people like the late George Lamola, we used to call him Mr. Executioner. That was the part he played in one of my first plays in Alexandra, Prosecution. And he did it so marvelously, and I just glued on him, to nurture his talent to go up. But otherwise, I was coming from Alexandra, where I started theatre. In fact, myself and Mungalis Rute and some Mangwani, we were the first people who started theatre in this Alexandra.
Seen a hungry dog, with, just water dripping from its mouth. This is how these kids are in this part of the country. They are dying. They are hungry. They want to be like other children throughout the world, throughout the country, throughout the world.
South Africa does not celebrate their heroes. South Africa is celebrating their celebrities. And a celebrity is the kind of actor that is made light on a microwave. Cooking on a microwave today and tomorrow you'll starve. The celebrities, the people, the artists of yesterday are not celebrated by all means. And this country is losing out on talent.
When it comes to people who are celebrated and not celebrated, I always say there are people who are poster faces, So people who are more commercial or who are being placed as a representative of everything. And then there are silent brands. People that you're not going to see on TV every day, you're not going to see on the cover of magazines. But these are people who are amazing contributors in terms of creative arts. And these are people who are going to leave the most massive, profound legacy for the future. And those we might not hear of until they've gone by. And then we start seeing monuments built for them, streets named after them.
Abantu abafana noBuden kuningi abakwenzile ukuphupha abantwana when it comes to theater. But kubhlungu because umuntu uze ahambe ayophumula phansi olala imisebenzi yakhe ingabonakali. Mangibhekisisa nje abantu abakudala ne-musicians abantu bakudala bashona banganamali akanana cent kodwa kukuningi akwenzile wakwenzela umphakathi.
It is though very sad to find a legend like him that they don't get recognition at all. Even there's awards, theater awards that are happening in the countries, and you don't even get a mention of Oom Dan Maredi. Oom Dan Maredi, they've done so much for this country, for the theater industry, and it's really very, very sad if you don't get not even a single person mentioning Mr. Maredi. And like honestly, I salute you guys for wanting to do this documentary. For me, he's like, what do you call him? An unsung hero.
And I think for Oom Dan Maredi, this was a call from his days way back in the States to here. I mean, he's the most well-connected person. So for me, it's no wonder that I don't expect Oom Dan Maredi to still be sitting and asking, we should be the ones inviting him and begging him to come and lecture and teach and write and, do documents and archives around him and actually use him more now when he's still alive. Because he's a walking, living library who is there, in front of us. But it's for us to go and page through him and eat out of him. But the reality of the industry is that, they're gatekeepers.
And there are good men in this world, and Oom Dan Maredi is one of them. And with that, I could close the book about saying, South Africa, wake up. Wake up to reality. Build your own stories and push them all up. Don't build them up and then you use the vehicles of overseas commercials that are at the moment running on our television. But the theater itself could actually help. We need to build audiences of people to go to the theater, and you can't build them on gun-toting stuff. With that, you call your life, amen, finito, finished.
The mind, as I said, is a very interesting thing. If you do not keep the mind busy with something, you are giving birth to criminal elements. You are developing criminals, not future great actors, leaders, and soccer players.